Every night, Daniel Carter picked up strangers. Some talked too much. Some never spoke at all. But one passenger knew things he couldn't possibly know. And by sunrise, Daniel wished he'd never opened his taxi door. Rain drummed against the windshield as Daniel's taxi crawled through nearly empty streets. It was almost 1 a.m. The city had gone quiet. Daniel was finishing what he promised himself would be his last ride before heading home. A man stood alone beneath a flickering streetlight. Dark overcoat, black umbrella, perfectly still. Daniel pulled over. The stranger climbed into the back seat without saying hello. Instead, he looked out the window and calmly said, "Don't stop at the next traffic light." Daniel frowned. "What?" "The truck isn't going to stop." Daniel almost laughed. The light ahead turned red. Every instinct told him to brake. Instead, something about the man's voice made him hesitate. He rolled slowly through the empty intersection. Half a second later, a fully loaded truck blasted across the red light exactly where his taxi would have been. Daniel slammed the brakes. His heart nearly stopped. The stranger never reacted. He simply stared out the rain-covered window. "As I said." Daniel looked into the rearview mirror. "How did you know that?" No answer. The man only smiled. A few minutes later, they drove past a convenience store. The stranger spoke again. "3 teenagers are about to run out of that shop." Daniel glanced over. Nothing. Then, the front door burst open. 3 masked teenagers sprinted outside carrying stolen bags. A shop owner chased after them screaming. Daniel gripped the steering wheel tighter. Now his hands were shaking. He checked the mirror again. "Who are you?" Still, no answer. The ride continued. Every prediction came true. A power outage, a dog running into the road, an ambulance appearing from nowhere. Each event happened exactly seconds after the stranger described it. Daniel's mind raced through every explanation. Psychic, police informant, prank, hidden cameras. None of them made sense. Finally, the stranger leaned forward. "For the first time," his voice sounded urgent, "when you finish this ride—" "Don't go home." Daniel laughed nervously. "What?" "No matter what you hear, no matter what you see, do not go home tonight." A cold silence filled the taxi. Daniel swallowed. "What happens if I do?" The stranger looked directly into the mirror. "You won't be the first person inside that house." Daniel pulled over. The stranger opened the door. Rain poured down outside. Daniel looked away for 1 second to check the fare. When he looked back, the back seat was empty. The passenger had vanished. No footsteps, no closing door, nothing. Daniel checked the app. No passenger name, no payment, no trip history. The ride didn't exist. He laughed to himself. "I'm exhausted. It has to be stress." Against every warning, he drove home. Everything looked normal. Porch light on, front door locked, windows closed. Daniel forced himself to smile. See? Nothing. He unlocked the door. Inside, the house was silent. Too silent. He walked toward the kitchen, then froze. A coffee mug sat on the counter, still warm. Daniel lived alone. His heartbeat quickened. He searched every room. Nothing. Until he noticed tiny muddy footprints leading toward the hallway. He followed them, slowly. The footprints stopped at the spare bedroom. The room looked untouched. Then he heard it, a faint creak. Not inside the room, inside the wall. Daniel pushed the old wardrobe aside. Hidden behind it was a narrow wooden panel. It wasn't part of the original house. Someone had built it later. His hands trembled as he pulled it open. Behind the wall was a cramped crawl space, a mattress, empty food cans, water bottles, fresh clothes. Someone had been living there, watching him every day, every night, for weeks, maybe months. Then Daniel noticed something else. The mattress was still warm. Whoever lived there had left only moments earlier. On the pillow sat a folded piece of paper. His hand shook as he opened it. 3 words. "See you tomorrow." Daniel slowly looked toward the dark hallway. Behind him, a floorboard creaked. The screen cuts to black. Some people claim the future can't be predicted. But maybe someone doesn't need to know tomorrow. If they've been watching you all along, would you have gone home or listened to the stranger?